Hi everybody, here's the second video that I'm putting up. Today we're going to talk about first and second conditionals. Okay, let's look at the conditionals. What are they? Well, the conditional sentences usually have two parts. You have the condition part of the sentence and the consequence part of the sentence. For example, if it rains tomorrow, that's the condition. The consequence or the result is that I will take an umbrella. Okay. Now it doesn't matter if we put the consequence first or the condition first. I can say I will take an umbrella if it rains tomorrow. It's exactly the same meaning. It's exactly the same meaning. The difference is that if we put the condition first, then we put a comma in the middle. Okay. All right. So what is the first conditional? Well, the first conditional. In the first conditional, we're talking about now or the future, okay? And the probability of the if clause happening is high or probable. For example, if I study a lot, I will improve my level. In this example, if I study a lot, the probability of me studying a lot is high, it's likely. There's a high probability that I'm going to study. I think I'm going to study. So in this case, if I study a lot, I will improve my level. Now, the first conditional has a basic structure like this. There's differences, but this is the basic structure. We use if and the present simple, and then we use will and the infinitive, okay? Again, it doesn't matter if we change, I will improve my level if I study a lot. It's exactly the same meaning, okay? Let's look at a couple of examples. Again, if it rains tomorrow, in this example, I think it's going to rain tomorrow. I think there's a high probability it's going to rain tomorrow. Okay, I will take an umbrella. Another example, if I win the race, well, in this case, I think I am going to win the race. I think I have a good chance of winning the race. So if I win the race, I will get a medal. Okay, so that's the first conditional. We're talking about now and the future, and we think there's a high probability of it happening. Let's say 95%, just to put a number. Okay, now the second conditional, people often think that the second conditional is talking about the past, but it isn't. It's talking about now or the future, okay? The difference is that the probability of the if clause happening is low or improbable or actually impossible, okay? Let's look at an example. If I studied a lot, I would improve my level. Now, in this case, I'm saying if I studied a lot. What's the probability of me studying a lot? Well, in this case, it's quite unlikely. It's low, it's improbable. It could even be impossible. So in this case, I'm saying if I studied a lot. In the last example, I said if I study a lot. If I study means I think I'm going to study. In this case, I think the chances of me studying are very low. Okay, so the second conditional has the following structure. We have if, and then the past simple, and then instead of will, we use would. Okay, now here, don't forget, here, we're using the verb in the past simple, but we're not talking about the past. We're talking about now or the future. The difference with the first conditional is that the probability is low, improbable, or impossible. Okay, let's look at some more examples. If it rained tomorrow, okay, in this case, I don't think it's going to rain tomorrow, okay? However, if it did rain, I would take an umbrella. If I won the race, okay, in this case, I don't think I will win the race. I don't think I'm not very fast, so I don't think I'm going to win the race. In this case, if I won the race, I would get a medal. That's sure, I would get a medal, but I don't think I'm going to win the race. All right. Let's look at an example. Oh, sorry. Here, the probability in these examples is very low. Okay, let's say 2%. All right. Another example of the second conditional for now or the future is when we think about something which is improbable, impossible. In this case, we're going to look at something which is impossible. For example, if I was the US president, okay, what's the probability of the if clause? Well, it's impossible. I can't be the president of the United States. I don't really want to be. I don't think, but I couldn't be the president of the United States because, well, I'm not going to live there for a start. So, in this case, if I was the US president, I would do things differently to Trump. Okay. So I would do something different, but only if I was the president of the United States. However, I'm not, and it's impossible for me to be the president of the United States. Again, the structure is the same. If, past simple, would in the infinitive. Let's look at some more examples. If I was from Paris, I'm not from Paris. It's impossible. I would speak French fluently. Okay. If I were you, it's not possible for me to be you. It's impossible. However, if I were you, I would get a haircut. Look at your hair. The last one, if I won the lottery, it's impossible for me to win the lottery. Maybe the possibility is very low. However, I don't buy a ticket, so it's impossible for me to win the lottery. So if I won the lottery, I would buy a Ferrari. Okay. So in this case, we're using the second conditional to talk about something with zero probability, something which is impossible. Okay. Let's compare first conditional and second conditional. Okay, two examples, or one example. If I finish the job, I will go to the cinema. Okay, in this first example, if I finish the job, means that I have a high probability of finishing the job. Okay, I think I will finish the job. And if that happens, I will go to the cinema. In the second conditional, if I finish the job, I would go to the cinema. Here, I don't think I'm going to finish the job. I would go. This is fairly sure. This is like will. It's the same idea. However, the probability of me finishing is very low. Okay. If he goes to the supermarket, he will buy bread. In this example, I think he will go to the supermarket. I think there's a high probability that he will go. So if he goes to the supermarket, he will buy the bread for sure. However, here, if he went to the supermarket, he would buy the bread. Okay. Well, if he went, I don't think he's going to go. I think the probability of him going to the supermarket is very, very low. However, he would buy the bread. I'm sure he would. Okay. So again, the difference is in the probability here. If he goes, I think he will go. If he went, I don't think he's going. Okay. Another example, if they arrive on time, we'll eat, then watch the film. Whereas if they arrived on time, we would eat or we'd eat and then watch the film. So in this example, I don't think they're going to arrive on time. In this example, I think they have a high probability of arriving on time. Notice when we use he or she in the first conditional, we need to use the present simple with S, okay? One thing to point out, we never put if and will and if and would in the same part of the sentence. It's possible, it can happen, but it's unusual. So try to remember if and the verb is in one part, will is in the second part. In the second conditional, if is in, and the past simple is in one part, would is in the second part of the sentence. Okay. Okay, which is better? Well, again, the first or second conditional maybe depends on the situation, depends on what you want to say. For example, if she gets married this year, she will be happy. If she got married this year, she would be happy. The first one's okay for me. If she gets married this year, I think there's a high probability of her getting married this year. If she got married this year, she would be happy, but I think the chances of her getting married this year are very low. Maybe in this case, she doesn't even have a boyfriend. Question B. Okay, if he wins the lottery, he will buy a new house. If he won the lottery, he would buy a new house. Which is better? Well, to be honest, I think the first one isn't correct, really, because the chances of anybody winning the lottery are usually low. So it's very difficult to use the first conditional in this case. The best answer is the second one, because if he won the lottery, it's a low probability, unless he buys all the tickets. Okay, but no, second one is the right answer. Question C. Okay, the baby's sick. If her fever doesn't go down, we'll take her to the clinic. That's the first conditional. Okay, the baby is sick. The second one, second conditional. The baby's sick. If her fever didn't go down, we'd take her to the clinic. Okay, now in this case, the baby is sick. So this is something that's true. That's a fact. Probably the fever won't go down. So I think the best answer is the first conditional here, okay? So if her fever doesn't go down, we'll take her to the clinic. If her fever didn't go down, seems unlikely in this situation because the baby is sick, so it's strange for the fever not to go down. It could do, of course. Again, we're talking about the same time. We're talking about now or the future. So both could be possible, maybe depending on the opinion. Okay, I've got some questions for you here. Okay, you've got 1 minute to have a look at these questions. I'd like you to read them and try to put the verb in the correct form. Okay, if you need to stop the recording, stop it. But please try to read and try to decide if the verb is with present simple, with will, with past simple, with would. Decide if the sentence is better in the first conditional or in the second conditional. Okay. Take a second to look carefully, okay? Okay, I realize 1 minute is not enough time to do this, probably. you probably haven't finished, but don't worry. Please stop the video and try to do it again, okay? Okay, let's have a look at the answers. Again, if you haven't finished, pause the video and you can see the answers. The first one, okay, stop it. If you continue behaving like that, you will, you will get into trouble, okay? In this case, the person is behaving in that way, so they should stop it. If the person continues, I think the person's going to continue. So it's first conditional. Okay, the second one, if they had enough money, they would visit Disney, but it's too expensive at the moment. So it's too expensive. The chances, the probability of them having enough money, it's not possible. So it's very low probability. It's raining again. Okay, if it was a sunny day, we would go for a walk in the park. However, the probability of it being a sunny day is very low because it's raining. So again, number 3, second conditional. Okay, number 4. Number 4, she will get a promotion if she keeps up the good work she's doing. So in this case, I think she's going to keep working very well. So she will get a promotion. The next one, again, it's about winning the lottery. So the chances are very low. In this case, it's a question. So we need to say, where would you travel if you won the lottery? Okay. Number 6, I think could be both. I put this in the first conditional because if I invite them, I'm sure they will come to the event. It could be second conditional too, though. Maybe I'm not planning on inviting them. Number 7, we will meet you at the cinema if we finish the project on time. I promise. Again, this could be second conditional if I don't think I'm going to finish. But in this case, I'm saying I promise, so I think there's a good chance, maybe. Number 8, if you don't send the information required, the boss will be furious. In this case, I don't think the person will send the information, so the boss is going to be furious. Okay, there's a bus strike. How will you get to the office if the trains are on strike too? In this case, it's a question. First conditional, we use if and the present simple in the second part of the sentence, and will with the infinitive in the first part. Okay. And the last one, well, if I were you, the possibility for me to be you is impossible, so we need to use the second conditional. I would try to have a rest over the long weekend. Okay. All right, so just to recap or just to summarize, the first and second conditional, we're talking about now and the future, okay? The first conditional and the second conditional depends on the probability. In the first conditional, we have something with a high probability. The second conditional, the probability is low or 0, okay? The structure is, the basic structure is as follows. If and the present simple, will and the infinitive. And in the second conditional, we use if, the past simple, would in the infinitive. Okay. All right, that's just a basic guide to the conditionals. Please let me know if you have any doubts about this, and I'll try to answer any questions you have. Okay, you can find me in these places. All the best. See you.